This was brutal. Bill Maher defends Israel and gives a reality check to his guest here. Check it out.
And it was frustrating to me because there was no one on liberal media to defend Israel, really. We've become this country now where we're kind of one-sided on this issue. I would also like to say off the bat that I don't think kids understand, and when I say kids, I mean the younger generations, that you can't learn history from Instagram. There's just not enough space. So I want to go over some of the history, but first I read your column on it, even-handed, brilliant as usual. But let me just quote you off the bat. You say, at home, Israel has a robust democracy that gives more rights to Arab citizens than its neighbors do. This was after all a war with Gaza. Thank God Israel treats its Arab citizens better than Egypt, Syria, or Saudi Arabia treat their Arab citizens. I didn't see much of that in the press, so I was glad to see you say it. Can you put some bones on that? Why do you say they treat their citizens better, their Arab citizens?
So, I mean, I also said a lot more. And clearly within Israel, then Arab citizens obviously vote. They can serve in the Knesset. They can be judges. Some of the most robust organizations speaking up for Palestinians are organizations like B'Tselem, the human rights organization. That does not happen in Egypt, which obviously massacres Egyptians who support democracy. We've seen what happens in Syria. But I would also say that, I made that point for context. I think it's important to understand that that Israel at home truly is robust. But, I don't think that's a defense for Israel engaging in possible war crimes in Gaza or engaging.
Well, Gaza fired 4,000 rockets into Israel. What would you say Israel should have done instead of what they did?
So
how could you not commit?
So, international lawyers are pretty clear that they have a right to defend themselves. They have a right to respond at military targets, but there was a sense that the response was probably a war crime because it did not sufficiently avoid civilian casualties.
But they purposely put the rockets in civilian places. That's their strategy.
Well, likewise, Israel's defense ministry is in a civilian area. Both sides do this partly because they're crowded countries. I do think that Hamas particularly does this, and I think that's a war crime on the part of Hamas. And clearly, Hamas is engaging in war crimes when it shells
War
Israel.
is a crime. It seems like a silly argument when people go to war. There are certain things that are beyond the pale. This seems like, it was.
Yeah, it's like somehow when Israel goes to war, people are like, people die in war? Really? Wow, that's terrible. But like anybody else goes to war, it's like, well, that's just war. Yeah, both sides fighting each other. With Israel, it's like, oh my God, look what Israel's doing. It's killing people. Like, I didn't know that happened in war. It's not just the fact that it's a modern era war. It is the fact that it is a Jewish state committing these so-called atrocities and going about war in the way that war is usually gone about, even in a more immoral way than ever. But the rest of the world is like, wait, I didn't know that war was this. Like, they're not even arguing against Israel. They're just arguing against war in general, but only when Israel does it.
It's a normal war. People die in war. It's a horrible thing. But
we have developed laws of war precisely to restrain the inhumanity of war. We don't allow chemical weapons.
But I don't know how else you respond to when you have what if Canada fired 4,000 rockets into America, or Mexico, which is an even better analogy because we actually did steal the land from Mexico. I would submit that Israel did not steal anybody's land. This is another thing I've heard in the last couple of weeks, words like occupiers and colonizers and apartheid, which I don't think people understand the history there. The Jews have been in that area of the world since about 1200 BC, way before the first Muslim or Arab walked the earth, 1,000 years before. Jerusalem was their capital. Okay, so if it's just about who got there first, it's not even close. There have been a continuous Jewish presence. Yes, the Jews were the ones who were occupied by everybody. The Romans took over at some point, and then the Persians and the Byzantines, and then the Ottomans. So yes, there was colonization going on there. Beginning in the 20th, 19th century, they started to return to Palestine, which was never an Arab country. There was never a country called Palestine that was a distinct Arab country. And yes, there was a problem there because there was two people who wanted to share the land, which is why the UN in 1947 said, okay, we're going to partition it. We have a map. I want to show it. People forget what the map looks like. This is what was on the table at the beginning. The green is the part that the Arab population would have gotten. It's a good part of the country. It's the good part, a lot of it. Look what Israel has, a little sliver by the coast and the desert in the south. That second map is what Israel has today. Yes, it is a lot more. But doesn't it behoove the people who rejected the treat, the half a loaf, and then continue attacked? Hamas's charter says they just want to wipe out Israel. Their negotiating position is you all die. And, you know, as far as Gaza goes, it's amazing to me that the progressives think that they're being progressive by taking that side of it, the Bella Hadids of the world, these influencers. I just want to say, in February of this year, a Hamas court ruled that an unmarried woman cannot travel in Gaza without the permission of a male guardian. Really? That's where the progressives are. Bella Hadid and her friends would run screaming to Tel Aviv if they had to live in Gaza for one day.
Right. But, I mean, I've been to Gaza any number of times, and ordinary Gazans complain about Hamas all the time. I did not perceive Bella Hadid as defending Hamas. I saw her as speaking up for, you know, the 67 kids in Gaza who were killed.
Well, she's from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, is I think what she chanted with people. That is a PLO slogan that means Israel from the river to the sea, is that there will be no more Israel.
Bravo. Bill Maher did a great job there defending Israel, as he always has and always will. He has emerged as probably one of the greatest defenders of the Jewish state since October 7th, but he has been doing it for a long time, and this is, I think, 3-4 years ago during another Gaza war. For more, subscribe to the channel. If you want to help us make more of these videos, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/JewishUncensored. Thank you for watching, and have a good one.